Okay, well, absolutely wonderful. So welcome everyone. Always keen to start on time. It's always super important to myself, this one. Joined by the wonderful Phil Bray again from the Yardstick Agency. Today we're talking all things 10 types of social proof to social proof your business. Sorry, let me put my words in straight there, Phil. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm currently suffering from COVID, unfortunately. So I'm just coming to the end of it. So I'm hoping I'll be absolutely fine. But if I do go into a coughing fit, I will pause myself. We're looking at 10 types to social proof your business. Should you have to impress your existing and new clients. I still don't know what's wrong with me, Phil, but there you go. Bear with me. Bear with me. We are using the facilities today for the chat function and the question and answers. So please feel free to jump in that and ask Phil any questions that you may have. As you've probably all seen online, we've now launched the Financial Planning Club. We're doing our official launch in a couple of weeks' time, which is super exciting. And effectively, it's specifically aimed at owner managers in the financial planning space. And we're here to connect, collaborate, and empower those businesses. Our wonderful partners that we're working alongside is here today, and we've also got the wonderful Phil, who's doing another wonderful webinar with us today. Now, for those of you that don't know Phil is the founder and director of the Yardstick Agency, now the UK's highest rating agency specialising in financial services. Phil has worked in financial services for over 20 years, started at the coalface as a financial advisor before moving into marketing, where he was head of marketing for a financial planning practice and network before setting up the Yardstick Agency back in 2017. So the Yardstick have a team now of around 48 staff. Has that grown, Phil? Are we still at 48 staff? My number's still right?
I think it's 50 now.
50 now. Absolutely love that. And they provide everything from marketing strategies, building websites and design services, blogs, newsletters, social media services, and inbound marketing to its clients. So Phil, thank you so much again for joining us today. We're really looking forward to having you on this webinar.
No problem at all. Right, I'm going to share my screen if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Everybody. Hope you have a good lunch and you can strap in and listen to this. Right, so Lewis, can you see my screen?
I can indeed. And would you like to run the first poll for our wonderful attendees today?
I would like to run the first poll, please.
Yeah, wonderful. Let's launch that. So you should have a poll coming up in front of you at the moment, which is, when was the last time you ran a client survey? So if you wouldn't mind answering that for us, that would be absolutely fantastic. Absolutely wonderful. So if I end that poll, I have the opportunity to share the results. You're absolutely right, Phil. So when you're ready for me to share that, let me know and I'll get that all sorted for you.
Happy days. Right, let's dive in. Thank you for the invite, Lewis. Always good to be on one of your webinars. So 10 types of social proof your business should have to impress existing and new clients. So what are we going to talk about? We're going to start by talking about, Simon Sinek always says start with why. So we're going to start with why. We're going to start with why you need social proof in your business. We're then going to talk about two different types of social proof: client-driven social proof and advisor-driven social proof. And we're going to get really practical with some examples. Actually, they're not examples. They are definitive. This is what you should be doing. But we're going to get really practical anyway. And then we're going to finish by debunking a few myths and misconceptions that I've heard over the years, which I know are barriers to individual advisors, planners, and firms collecting social proof. So if that's okay with everybody, we'll dive in by saying, look, if you've got any questions, if you've got any feedback, then do please put some comments in the chat or ask questions in the Q&A. Share your experiences. If you think I'm talking complete rubbish, then do feel free to challenge. We only get better as a business. We only get better as marketers when we think. I was on a sales call earlier on. It was really quite a tough one, but they're the best sales calls, aren't they, when you get challenged? So do ask questions, do give feedback, and do share your experiences. So let's start with why. Why do we need social proof in our businesses? And for me, this applies to Lewis, your business. It applies to Yardstick. It's That's why we've got 186 5-star reviews. And it applies to individual advisors and planners, as well as advice, planning firms, mortgage brokerages, etc., etc. And this is the reason why 70% of a consumer's buying decision is made before they meet the salesperson. 70% of a consumer's buying decision is made before they meet the salesperson. Now, just let that sink in and think about the implications for your business. Because this has changed over the years. By the way, that stat, 70%, comes from Marcus Sheridan's They Ask, You Answer, which is a fabulous book. And we've got Marcus on a Yardstick webinar in October, I think. But because 70% of that buying decision is made before they meet somebody, that means we've got to impress people on their digital journey to your door. And what do I mean by that? So sat between me becoming aware of somebody and taking action is Google. Sat between me becoming aware of somebody and taking action is Google. So let me give you an example. Let's say I am a mid-50s, not far off, but mid-50s person who has worked all my life, accumulated various pensions, savings, investments, etc. And they've all got a lot of paperwork that's gathering dust. And I'm feeling particularly disorganized about my financial future and probably quite concerned about whether I can ever retire. Can I retire on an income that will deliver the lifestyle I want? So I'm out with a couple of friends on a Friday night. And I turn to one of them and ask who they use for their pensions. And one of them says, I use Bev in Investment Sense. Hiya, Bev. And so I write Bev's details down. I write Investment Sense's details down. The other one says, I use different financial advisor. I use Nicola at Jane Smith Financial Planning. So I write Nicola's details down and Jane's details down. Jane Smith Financial Planning details down. Now, in times gone by, I would have waited till the Monday morning, picked up the phone to Bev or Nicola, and whoever answered first, I would have probably arranged a meeting with. The level of due diligence was really quite low. Now, though, 2024, we live in different times. And we live in a digital world. So between me becoming aware of Bev and Nicola and taking action, I'm going to Google them. I'm absolutely going to Google them. And what I see when I search for the two businesses dictates whether I get in touch with the first advisor, the second advisor, or I carry on my search because I wasn't impressed by either. And that's what we call the digital journey to your door. And that's why on the Google search results page, which is where people first meet you, and your website, which is where they get to know you, you need to impress people. And if you want a few stats to back that up, love a stat. 81% of consumers say that online reviews are either important or very important when deciding whether to use a particular company. 87% of consumers used Google reviews to evaluate local businesses in 2022, up from 81 in 2021. And most people want a financial advisor planner, not everybody, but most people want a financial advisor planner who's based reasonably local to them. So there's data that shows this stuff is important. We've got data that shows, we'll see in a bit, shows how few firms have things like client testimonial videos on their website. So when you have Google reviews, vouched for reviews, and a few of the other things we're going to talk about today, it differentiates you from your peers and your competitors. Google reviews, which we'll talk about in a minute, also help your local SEO, search engine optimization. And I guess the TLDR version of this is that showing always beats telling. And firms that don't have social proof are constantly in telling mode. You've got to believe me that when I say my services are good. You've got to believe me when I say that I'll add value, rather than proving it through some of the social proof methods that we're going to talk about in a bit. So for me, social proof within a firm is an absolute hygiene factor. Incredibly important that firms have it, as well as a really impressive website. We need to impress these people on the digital journey, these prospects on the digital journey to your door. So hopefully that puts a big tick in the box, why we need social proof. If anybody's got any challenge to that, really happy to take it. So there are two types of social proof. What we call client-driven social proof and what we call advisor-driven social proof. So the client stuff, unsurprisingly, is all about the thoughts and words of your clients to show the value they get from working with you. Advisor-driven social proof is all the other stuff. So what we're going to do on the next few slides is unpack the three types of client-driven social proof. So the first that we believe firms should have is a client survey. So Lewis, what were the results of our client survey?
Let's share them results with you. So hopefully you should all see that. So we've got 33% said in the past year. Another 33% said in the past 1 to 2 years. And the other third said never.
That's interesting. So what I'd be really interested to hear is from the people that said never. Maybe you can put a comment in the chat, please. For the people who said never, what are the reasons why you've not done it? Be really interested to understand the reasons why you've not done it.
Yeah.
And for those people who did it in the past year or 2 years, really interested to understand how you felt before you did the survey and how you felt after you did the survey.
A lot of people are nervous, aren't they, Phil? I found I did some consultants work for a firm down south, all about client surveys and the benefit of client surveys and understanding the client journey. And the reason why he hadn't done it was because he was nervous about what feedback he was actually going to receive. He thought it'd be negative on his business. But I said, that's where you're going to start to learning of what you need to improve of what your clients actually want. So I think it's like a nerve-wracking thing that I've heard before.
I absolutely think that is one of, and hopefully if people put some information in the chat, I'd be really interested. Safe space, everybody, really interested to know why you might not have done surveys. But that is one of the barriers to doing it. And for me, there's a bunch of reasons to run client surveys. The first, by doing it, the fact you're asking your clients an opinion, it shows you care. It shows you want to know how you're doing. There's just a very strong message about the fact that it's, again, showing you care. The second reason for running a client survey, it helps you improve your business. So you'll learn what you're doing well and what clients like. That's nice, but you can't necessarily use that to improve the business. It will tell you what clients don't like about what you're doing right now. And you can then go and improve that. And it will tell you what clients want you to do that you're not already doing. So it will help you improve your business. From a marketing perspective, which is what we're here to talk about today in terms of social proof, if you get some really nice stats and feedback, you can use that in your marketing. So one of the questions we'll ask, because I hate NPS. Yeah, in the B2C space, I just think NPS is the devil's work. Really do not like NPS when we're talking to consumers. And happy to explain why. One of the questions we ask is, would you recommend XYZ firm? Would you recommend us to your client, to people you know? And you get a number out of that. 98.65% of our clients would recommend us to people. We can use that in the marketing. So the reason to use client surveys from a social proof perspective is that we get really good data and really good feedback we can use in the marketing. Then it underpins a referral and recommendation strategy. We're not here to talk about that today, but it's another reason for doing it. And then from a sort of compliance perspective, A client survey helps to sort a problem when it's that big rather than when it's that big. And I've spoken to 2 firms recently where a client in a client survey said, look, I'm really unhappy and I want to leave. A director has picked the phone up to those clients, listened, empathized, and has put a plan in place, and those clients are now staying on board. If they'd not done the survey, they wouldn't have had that information. So the first type of social proof we believe you should have is a client survey.
Lovely. And we've got some people coming back to us in the chat. So one from Steve, who said, never really felt the need, would really like to do it now, particularly with Consumer Duty. I think it would be really great to understand how much they appreciate having us as an advisor or not. That's the first one. So if you want to add anything to that one there, Phil. And then the second one from Mark. Initially nervous, afterwards disappointing the low level of responses, i.e. few responded, but it was December, shortly before Christmas. So the timing of your survey, maybe.
Yeah, that might have something to do with it, Mark. I think there's other things you can do as well to increase the number. So when we're running client survey projects, we'll send a heads up email saying this is coming out, it's important. We'll send an email. We'll then send a follow-up. We've had firms before, I can think of one in Ireland that we work with, where they got a relatively modest response, maybe 30 responses. They then sent the survey out again by WhatsApp, and they went up to about 80 responses. So there's a bunch of stuff you can do to try and increase the number of responses. I would potentially suggest sending just before Christmas is one of them as well, but you live and learn, don't you, Mark?
The art of following up, Phil, I'm sure you would agree. The art of following up, you know, I mean, don't ever feel like a pest, ever, because it's about getting value, getting getting the answers to what's going on within your business. And the only people that know that is your clients. So it's so important.
Yeah, I agree. So second type of social proof, client-driven social proof, client testimonial videos. Now, these are incredibly useful because what they do is they tell your client's story of working with you. If you choose the right clients, they will talk about what life was like before they worked with you, how they felt. They'll talk broadly about what you did. Don't need to talk about products, don't need to talk about investment performance or anything like that. And then they'll talk about how life has changed, how they feel about their financial future, the impact that you've had on them, whether they could have done that themselves. Spoiler alert, no, they couldn't. And client testimonial videos are powerful from that perspective. They're powerful also because just the very fact somebody is prepared to go in front of the camera, say nice things about you, and then happy enough with you that that goes on your website in public, speaks volumes for the relationship they've got with the planner. And finally, client videos. They're the easiest way of your existing clients talking to your prospects. Yeah? There is almost no other way of getting existing clients to talk to potential clients other than having them in the same room. And we'll talk about some of the myths and misconceptions in a bit about client videos, because they're not always the easiest thing to do, but they are absolutely doable if we open our minds and follow tried and tested processes. And that's where, in my first shameless promotion alert, only 6% of firms have client testimonial videos. 43% of Yardstick clients do. Big difference.
Wow. That's good. I saw one. I saw one today that was recently posted. I was at the Next Gen conference last week or week before last. Can't remember. It's all my days have merged into weeks merged into one. Being a little bit poorly. And I met a lady there, this financial planner. She said, I'm getting on Instagram, and she posted a video today of her and her client telling her what she's done all around budgeting her business and budgeting her personally. And, you know, like you say, that the struggle she was having, what they did and how she felt afterwards, a little selfie afterwards. And the comments were like crazy, you know, just from a simple little post like that, it just shows that it works.
From what I hear about the Next Gen conference, I'm surprised you can remember anything, Lewis.
Oh, did you? I did do some singing, everyone. I did get up on stage and I did sing Mika. It was terrible, but you know, I'm still That's a conversation for another day, Phil.
So, third type of advisor-driven social proof: online ratings and reviews. And we believe firms should use Google and vouched for. Lewis, if you could launch that other poll while we talk about this.
Absolutely. A nice one question answer, everyone.
That's easy.
Super simple.
Yeah. So yeah, look, go into the poll. How many Google reviews do you have? Somewhere between 0 and a number. That would be great. So why are online ratings and reviews important? The simple answer is they impress potential people on that digital journey to your door and can be used in your wider marketing. So if we establish, as we did earlier, hopefully, that through the research, the data, 80% of people want to see reviews. The obvious question is, well, which platforms should we be using? Now, the first platform you should use is Google. And that's because when someone searches for your business, I gave 2 examples earlier, search for your business name, you should dominate that Google search results page with links about your business. Links to your website should be top left-hand corner. And then you get your Google business profile top right. And that's where your Google reviews sit, assuming you've got them. So if you've got 10, 20, 30 more 5-star Google reviews, that's going to impress somebody on that very, very first interaction with you. Yeah, you can use the reviews elsewhere in your marketing, on your website, email signatures, that sort of stuff. But at the very first point where they Google you and Google your business name, they're going to be impressed. So when someone Googles the Yardstick Agency, they see 186 5-star Google reviews. And hopefully that impresses them as soon as that first interaction with us. Google reviews also help your local SEO. So help you appear in that Google business section when someone types in financial advisor near me, financial advisor Nottingham, that sort of stuff. But there's an issue with Google reviews. In fact, there's 2 issues with Google reviews. The first is they're hard to get. You need a Google account, Gmail account, to leave a Google review. So that means they're hard to get, because not everybody has a Google account. The other thing, your name is in public as well. So people don't always want their name in public to say praising their financial advisor. The second thing is Google reviews come up, or the second problem, when Google reviews come up when you search for a business name, they don't come up when you search for somebody's individual name. So an individual planner's name. So therefore, there's a logic that we should use 2 review platforms. And that second review platform, in our view, should always, always, always be vouched for. We're big fans of vouched for. There's no commercial relationship between the 2 businesses, but we're big fans of vouched for. And what vouched for does, your reviews will come up there when someone searches for your individual name. So Bev Stoves rather than Investment Sense, Nicola Watts rather than Jane Smith Financial Plan. You can also then embed those vouched for reviews in your website. And in our experience, for every 1 Google review you get between 5 and 10 on vouched for. There's a really large multiplication factor here. That doesn't mean Google reviews are less important. It just means they're harder to get. So online ratings and reviews on Google and vouched for, really, really important. Lewis, what have you got on the poll results?
So only 20% answered it. So I've hit share. Can you see anything? It's a short answer, so I don't know what how the short answer come across. So one of them's put 3, one of them's put 0, which probably therefore means maybe they're not getting Google reviews at all.
Yeah,
on that front.
So again, really interested to hear from anybody what the barriers might be to getting Google reviews, why you might be not getting them, why you might not be prioritizing them, etc. Because obviously, if people can leave today with some information that will help improve things, that would be a good thing. And again, a little shameless plug. The Yardstick clients have 286% more Google reviews than the average financial planning firm, and 178% more vouched for reviews than the average financial planning firm. There's two reasons for that. I think we impress upon our clients the importance of doing this, and then we help them do it. We know what works, which takes us to this. So I've talked about 3 pieces of social proof, maybe 4 if you're using 2 platforms. So we've got survey, we've got client testimonial videos, Google, and vouched for reviews. So there's 4 pieces of the jigsaw. How do they fit in place? So for me, client surveys should be done every 1 or 2 years at fixed points in time. So you might say for our business, we run our client surveys September every year, February every year, August every other year. Probably a bad time, but you know what I mean. So client surveys, fixed points in time every 1 or 2 years, not after annual review meetings. And that advice is based on our experience of the fact that if you run them at fixed points in time, it's easier to compare the results. So January 2024, we scored X for this question. January 2022, we scored Y. We've improved. Or not, as the case may be. So you can compare the results more easily. You also, when you run them at fixed points in time, get a better response than when you run them after you've done an annual review or onboarded a client. Client testimonial video projects should be one-off projects. We do these face-to-face and we do them remotely with clients. And we do box sets. So we might do 4, 5, 6 at a time, and then put them on the website, etc. And then online ratings and reviews, you should do a booster project after you've done a client survey. So do the client survey. Let's say take that 6 to 8 weeks for a project. As soon as you've done the client survey, you do the online rating and review booster project. And that's where you go out to all clients at once saying, could we have reviews on Google vouched for? And then you change your processes so that after you've done an annual review or after you've onboarded a new client, you send an email out requesting Google and vouched for reviews. And that keeps them topped up. So client survey project to start. Video project probably running alongside. When you've done the client survey project, you do the booster project for online ratings and reviews. Then you change your processes to keep them topped up. One final benefit of doing that, if you do the online ratings and reviews after you've done the client survey, if anybody's a bit unhappy on the client survey, guess what? You don't ask them for vouched for or Google review. Yeah. So the client survey helps to weed out people who are unhappy and you maybe shouldn't be asking for reviews. So I wanted to put that slide in there to give everybody how we believe these pieces of the jigsaw should fit together. Lewis, did I see a question or comment?
Yes, and you absolutely have. And also got a question myself actually on that. We've also noticed historically with clients and also ourselves that when we do an ask for reviews or testimonials, however you want to kind of call them, we found actually giving them some prompts as well, like questions to ask, sometimes is a better way. Because sometimes, even like myself, when someone asks for a review, it's hard to maybe write down what I want to say potentially about that supplier. So I found that historically, if I provide some prompts to a client, then I pretty much get every single one of them back that I send to them. Have you seen that historically with firms that you've worked with?
Yeah, I think it's one of the reasons why you don't vouched for provides the prompts for you, because it's a guided series of questions.
Yeah.
Whereas Google, it's rate out of
blank,
5,
isn't it?
And leave a comment. Yeah, it's blank.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's potentially one of the barriers to leaving Google reviews.
Yeah, amazing. And then Yasmin's put, I have reviews on my LinkedIn, but not thought about the Google review.
So LinkedIn reviews are for yourself. Yeah. LinkedIn reviews are for individuals, Yasmin. With Google, it's for your business. So they're very different things. The other thing with LinkedIn, clearly your client's got to be on LinkedIn to leave you a LinkedIn review, and they're harder to embed in your marketing. Vouched for have widgets that you can embed elsewhere in your marketing, on email signatures and websites, and you can do the same with Google reviews. You can't, as I understand it, do the same with LinkedIn reviews.
Yeah, so we use LinkedIn. We get a lot of ours through LinkedIn reviews, and then we ask them, is it okay to then put that on our website? And it's very much a manual task, like a copy and paste. And Yasmin, you're absolutely right. Yeah, always use prompts. I use prompts as well through LinkedIn. You know, I think it depends where you've got your marketing channel. If you get a lot of clients from your LinkedIn, then you really want to bolster your LinkedIn recommendations at the bottom, you know, which is brilliant. But yeah, when you really want to focus on your business, you know, I know there's some businesses in this group today that would be an area to focus on, vouch for in Google.
Yeah,
Would it
and
be?
Yasmin's also said, would it be an idea to ask the same clients to review the same on Google reviews and vouch for? Absolutely, Yasmin. That's my point here.
100%.
Best practice is to ask your client if they'll leave you a review. If they say they'll leave you a review, you follow it with one email with 2 links. We use Google and vouched for. Click here for Google, click here for vouched for. You're not asking them for both, you're giving them choice, which is a good thing. And that email should be wholly, exclusively, and only about the Google and vouch for review request. Right, I'm going to plow on because we're going to be short of time if we're not careful. So that was client-driven social proof. And they are 3 things that if you've got a blank canvas when it comes to social proof, they are 3 things that I would prioritize. And I would do them all at the same time. But there is a bunch of other things, advisor-driven social proof, that will also impress potential clients on the digital journey to your door. So the first is financial services awards. Now, there's a bit of a myth, and we need to just establish here that not all awards are equal. Yeah, that award where you get an email, say you've won such and such award, you didn't know you'd entered, you hadn't entered, and all you need to do is spend £2,500 on a logo to get a trophy and say you've won. Ignore that. Rubbish. Ignore that. But the financial services awards, where you have to enter to play, they are paid to play awards. These are enter to play awards. Things like New Model Advisor Top 100, Money Marketing, Professional Advisor, Money Age, Money Facts, PFS, etc. They are worth entering and winning, especially if you then go and PR the success. So you get shortlisted, you talk about it. You win, you talk about it. And financial services awards are definitely worth considering, as are local business awards, if you're a business that wants to work with local people. Chambers of Commerce and other platforms will run local business awards. Lewis, you're down in Essex, aren't you?
Yeah. Joe, I've never thought about doing local awards actually. Obviously, do the PFS. I'll do all the other ones. But I've never thought about local ones. It's quite a good idea.
Absolutely. We got a client in Essex, and I was doing some research for local business awards in Essex, and there's 3 or 4 of them that look as though they're worth entering. And you can establish whether they're worth entering partly by looking at the quality of their marketing and infrastructure, but also looking at the previous winners. Yeah? Do you align yourself with the previous winners? So financial services awards, local business awards, absolutely worth considering. Displaying your qualifications on your website. Yeah? You can be in financial services as an advisor with relatively historical, relatively low-level qualifications. I've even got them. But if you've got qualifications that elevate you above the minimum standard, then you should be talking about that. And not just putting, look, I've got G60 and G10. That dates me, doesn't it? But G60 or G10.
That does, Phil.
Actually, to be fair, I've got G10. I failed G60.
Right.
But if you've got qualifications that elevate you above the minimum standard, then talk about it. Remember the old thing about features and benefits, though. Don't just say, I've got these exams. Talk about why it makes a difference and why it differentiates you. Accreditations. The number of websites I see where the firm is accredited from the CISI or chartered from the PFS, and the accreditation is stuck somewhere in the footer next to their compliant and statutory statements, just drives me nuts. because these are differentiators. They should be above the fold on your website. The fold is the bit on the screen where people don't see below when they load the site. So if you've got these accreditations, whether it's individually chartered, certified, accredited as a firm, chartered as a firm, and there's a bunch of other of these accreditations, shout about them because they differentiate you from others. And don't just put the logo on your website and expect people to understand what it means. Put your logo on the website and then link it to a page that explains what it means, or link it to a pop-up that explains what it means. Number 5, if you're a business with multiple team members, not sure what the cutoff here is, but if you're multiple team members, then Glassdoor reviews are incredibly useful. Now, Lewis, we've spoken about Glassdoor before on these webinars, and I'm a big fan of Glassdoor. I think there's huge benefits of building up reviews on Glassdoor. For anybody who don't know, Glassdoor is a ratings and review platform where your current and former employees can leave you a review. Now, normally at this point, we get a big hole in the wall where the business owner is running away and would rather do anything else than ask their staff, current or former, for reviews. But it genuinely can be a very positive experience. Not only will Glassdoor reviews, positive Glassdoor reviews, help recruit
massively, yeah,
they also impress potential clients, because potential clients will want to know you look after your staff. The happier the staff, the more sticky they will be, the less turnover there will be, and the better they will look after your clients. So if you have really good quality Glassdoor reviews from your staff, current and former, talking about the benefits of working with you and the culture of the business, etc., it really does help in your marketing. Press coverage. So if you are covered in the press, and if you've not looked at Dominic Hyatt's news page service, go and have a look at that. It's great. But if you're covered in the press, again, you've got to PR the PR. You've got to tell people about it. So if you're one of those talking heads at the bottom of a Telegraph article about pensions at the weekend, there's pretty much no value in that unless you tell people about it. So go and tell people about your press coverage. Easier to get than most people think. And it's an endorsement. The fact that the BBC, the Times, the Telegraph, the FT is happy to quote you in print or on their website is an endorsement. If it's good enough for them, maybe this person's good enough for me. And the same applies to guest appearances on events, podcasts, and webinars. If you can target those 3 things, get yourself on as a guest, as we're doing now. I'm talking to a bunch of people because, Lewis, you organised it. So if you can do that, they are good things as well. Social proof, yeah. If Lewis thinks I'm good enough to speak to you guys today, then hopefully that's an endorsement because you trust Lewis. So there are 7 types of advisor-driven social proof. I'd prioritize the client social proof, but then you can move on to the advisor stuff. So for our last, sorry, go on, Lewis. You look
I was going to say it very much helps with your client marketing as well, you know. So say for individuals that want to get involved with more accountants, can you try and get on an accountancy podcast? Can you try and break the accountancy and be known in that industry? You know, can you write? Now I see a lot of financial planners writing for financial planning publications, which is fantastic. But also you can write for legal, you can write for accountancy side, you know, to really show your knowledge. You know, I write for financial planning because I work in the industry and it adds value to my business. You need to be doing it for your marketing channels as well, you know.
Absolutely. So let's finish the last 5 minutes, if that's okay, with myths and misconceptions. And I want to try and debunk some of these, because these are things which hold financial advisors, financial planners, and business owners back from collecting more social proof. So my business is different. I hear this quite a bit, yeah, or my clients are different. When you dig into that, the answer is almost always, no, they're not, yeah. So we have done videos with professional footballers. We've done videos with other professional sports people. We've done business with widows. We've done videos with people who are terminally ill. We've done business. We've done videos for people who are disabled. And they all have the same reason for doing it. They want to say thank you to their financial advisor or planner in a way that isn't just paying them. And I've yet to come across a business or a client bank where actually they are that different that for some reason they don't want to do videos. I guess if you specialize in working with operatives in MI5 or MI6 or the SAS, then that might apply. But apart from that, my clients won't want to do that. Now, you often see this in multi-advisor firms. So when we're pitching the video idea, you see advisors do that when you pitch the video idea. And basically what they're doing is they're answering a question for 80, 90, 100 people, their client bank in one go. And it's largely because they fear going to ask clients. So in my experience, if you ask the right clients in the right way, and this deals with the third one, I don't want to bother my clients. If you ask the right clients in the right way, they will complete surveys. They will leave ratings and reviews, and they will happily appear on videos. Only using one review platform is always going to reduce the effectiveness of your marketing or the number of reviews you've got online. So always two platforms. In our view, always Google, always vouched for. And you're not asking for two reviews. You're giving people choice. Another one I hear, I need to buy a table to win an award. This is just palpably untrue. I don't know if you've judged awards, Lewis, but I judged a category for money marketing a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
Judged online. There was a video call like this. We were not told who is sponsoring, who has bought a table. Just weren't told that. Yeah. You were judging based on the entry. And I'd imagine your experience is the same.
Absolutely. And I love your story as well. You have, Phil, about this. You was at an award, wasn't you? We had the same client, called Bell.
Yeah.
Who didn't even turn up, did they?
No.
And didn't you go pick it up for them?
I did.
Because everyone was saying, oh, well, you've got to buy a table to win an award. And they didn't even bother turning up because they didn't think they're going to win it.
Yeah. Paul and David didn't think they were going to win. Paul and David didn't think they asked me to collect it. I was in the cheap seats right at the back and had to fight my way through to get the award on their behalf. Guess who wrote their award entry, by the way, that day?
That was you.
It wasn't. But it's a myth. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the awards you have to enter to win, you don't have to buy a table to win. It is nice if you buy a seat and you're there to pick it up, but it's by no means required. A website testimonial page is enough. In our experience, between 1% and 2% of all website visitors will go and hit a testimonial page. It's just not good enough. We need to scatter social proof around your website, whether it's videos, client survey results, online reviews, press coverage, etc., etc. It needs to be scattered around the site so people see it wherever they go. That's few. A fear of negative reviews or comments. Now, because of the way Google's set up, pretty much every business has got a Google business profile, and therefore anybody can go and leave you a review. I have never, ever seen a fake or negative review when it has been requested by the planner. I have seen negative reviews when the planner's not delivered service that's of the required standard and the client has been annoyed. But I've never seen negative reviews when the planner has requested them. Next, high value net worth clients don't value social proof. I've just never seen any proof of that. I've never seen evidence to show that high net worth clients don't value social proof. Another barrier, verbally requesting Google and vouched for reviews with no email follow-up. Like you talked about earlier, Lewis, you've got to follow up. Yeah. You've got to make it easy for people and knock down a few barriers. And it's very easy for me to say, right, Lewis, I'll give you a review. But you can make it even easier for me to do it by emailing me the links and telling me how to do it. Give me the
Absolutely.
Only asking people with a Gmail address for a review. It's just really bad practice. They might have a Gmail address you don't know about. They might have a business address that actually looks, that's got their business domain on it, but is actually Gmail. And they might be that happy with you that they're happy to set up a Gmail account just to leave you a review. My PI insurer / network says I can't run a client survey. When you challenge that, in my experience, most PI insurers and networks back down because there is no logical reason for not running a client survey. And then lastly, online reviews can be faked, which means they're pointless. Got a £10 note in my pocket. That can be faked, but it doesn't mean I can't go and spend this. So it's still valuable currency. So just because online reviews can be faked doesn't mean they're pointless. So we can knock down all these myths and misconceptions and barriers really quite easily with sound logic and evidence. And again, we just need to come back to why you should do this. It impresses people on that digital journey to your door. It differentiates you. And 70% of the buying decision is made before they meet you. Therefore, you have to impress people before you meet them. How can we help? And then we'll finish off. We can help you run client surveys. We can write award entries. We can build Glassdoor profiles. We can run client video testimonial projects, whether it's a face-to-face shoot or online. And we can run Google and vouched for review projects. So we can help you with all this stuff. And it's one of the reasons Yardstick clients have got more Google reviews, more vouched for reviews, and more client video testimonials. Anybody who wants to stay in touch, there are my contact details. I've overrun a bit, Lewis. Apologies about that.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. We'll send the slides around to everyone so everyone can ask any more questions. Yasmin has just come in about networks do say everything needs to run by them, and I find that off-putting. So I think we need to challenge them really on that front there, Phil. Do you think you can go back? So I need this for my business. You know, I need to know what my clients think. You know,
100%. I would say this whether we're recording it or not, Lewis. Yeah, but you are a business owner. You have chosen that network as a supplier of services to you. Yeah, if you're with network A, you could move to network B. You have chosen that supplier of services. Therefore, they shouldn't be a barrier for you to improve your business. And a client survey will improve your business. Absolutely. So I would absolutely be challenging them with logic. And Yasmin, if you're struggling, I have got plenty of logic that you can use to challenge this.
Fantastic. If anyone's got any other questions they'd like to ask Phil, please do so now. Put a comment in the comments in the chat function, all the questions and answers. I will be getting Phil's slides across to everybody and also the recording as well, because I know I've had a couple of emails come in saying that they can't make it. So just want to thank you all again. It's been a pleasure. I got through it. I had a couple of coughing fits that I didn't do on screen. Honestly, COVID is horrendous. First time I've had it, Phil, and it's probably been the worst 2 weeks of my life. But I'm getting there. So hopefully everyone has a very healthy, wonderful rest of the week. So thank you all so much. And thank you, Phil. Really appreciate it today.
Thank you for having me, Lewis. Cheers, everybody. Bye-bye.
Cheers, everyone. Bye-bye now.